This week in Jamaica Now, mayhem in Spanish Town as leader of the One Order gang killed in a police confrontation. Who chopped JLP Mayor Michael Belnavis? Climate change or neglectful government? Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness and opposition leader Golding clashed over poor road conditions. And the US pardons Jamaica's first National Hero Marcus Garvey, but his son says the fight isn't over. I'm Jovan Johnson and this is Jamaica Now. Tension remains high in Spanish Town, St. Catherine following the killing of alleged gang leader Othniel Thickman Laban in St. Andrew. Mr. Laban was shot dead in an alleged confrontation with the police in the 6 Miles area near Duhaney Park. He was the reputed leader of the One Order Gang, one of 2 major criminal gangs that operate in the country's old capital. The incident has led to unrest with taxi operators scarce and businesses and schools closing early. Police vehicles were also vandalized. Early Thursday morning, a Courts Furniture and Appliance store was set ablaze in Spanish Town. Firefighters also reported damage to several appliances, including several stoves, washing machines, refrigerators, and other items. Superintendent Hopton Nicholson, who heads the St. Catherine North Police Division, says the police are working to restore order in the area. The outbreak of violence followed upheaval in the Taws Meadows area of Spanish Town earlier on Wednesday over a confrontation between the residents and the police. A curfew has been imposed in the Spanish Town area, while the police high command has raised the threat level against its members to extreme. The violence took place in the St. Catherine Central constituency, which is represented in Parliament by the Jamaica Labour Party's Olivia Babs-Grange. Ms. Grange has urged calm. And the government on Wednesday declared states of public emergency in 4 police divisions: St. Andrew South, St. Andrew Central, Kingston Western and St. Catherine South. The Office of the Prime Minister said the measure, which gives increased powers of search and arrest to the security forces, follows what it calls a significant increase in violent criminal activities within the areas. Tesha Miller, the alleged leader of the Clansman Gang, which operates out of Spanish Town, St. Catherine, and 15 other inmates are suing the government over conditions at the Tower Street Adult Correctional Centre, Jamaica's main prison. A lawsuit filed on December 4, 2024, alleges breaches of their constitutional rights, including a 2-year visitation ban and inadequate access to legal representation. The inmates claim their rights to equality and family communication were infringed when the prison imposed a no-visit day rule in November without notice. They are also challenging the poor physical conditions at the centuries-old prison and seek damages for violations of their dignity. The lawsuit is against the superintendent of the prison and the Minister of National Security. The ministry says it has been served. Tower Street Prison is plagued by overcrowding and deterioration and has long been criticized, with calls for a modern facility remaining unanswered. Mr. Miller is appealing a murder conviction while facing anti-gang charges linked to crimes allegedly committed between 2017 and 2022. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness and opposition leader Mark Golding clashed in Parliament on Tuesday over the poor state of Jamaica's roads. Mr. Holness has linked the poor conditions of the roads to poor maintenance and climate change. However, Mr. Golding hit back, saying the administration was shirking responsibility after being in power for close to 9 years.
Our situation is compounded by 30 years of neglect and underinvestment in our infrastructure, including our roads. And if you were to look at when this neglect was most intense, when was this neglect of our roads most intense? I don't need to answer that question. I think every Jamaican knows that when that side is in power, when that side is running the economy, there is no revenues to maintain the roads. So the destruction of the roads, Mr. Speaker, is very well the PNP fault. If they were maintaining the roads from all of those years coming, we wouldn't be in this position.
Climate change. To blame the appalling state of the road network in Jamaica today on climate change is just totally disingenuous. The reality is that there has been an absence of any proper road maintenance policy for years. And you have been in office for 9 years, so you have superintended 9 years of neglect over the maintenance of Jamaica's road network, for which the people are holding you accountable now.
Mystery surrounds the circumstances of an attack on St. Anne's Bay Mayor Michael Belnavis, who was chopped multiple times on Monday night. The incident reportedly occurred around 11 p.m. at a building he owns between Boscobel and Aracabessa in St. Mary. Despite no formal police report initially being made, senior detectives from Area 2 headquarters are investigating. Mr. Belnavis, who reportedly sustained non-life-threatening injuries, drove himself to the St. Anne's Bay Regional Hospital where he was treated. On Tuesday night, however, he was readmitted. He was released on Thursday. The ruling Jamaica Labour Party, of which Mr. Belnavis is a member, issued a statement confirming that he was readmitted to the hospital for observation on Tuesday afternoon after experiencing discomfort. The JLP says the mayor was attacked by an unidentified individual at his residence on Monday and sustained injuries that are not life-threatening. The opposition People's National Party has called for a thorough investigation of the matter. A man suspected of being involved in the incident was reportedly admitted at hospital with gunshot wounds. The police said Wednesday a statement would be issued, but one has not been forthcoming. The Jamaican government has welcomed the United States' posthumous pardon of Marcus Garvey, calling it a key step in addressing a historical injustice. Former President Joe Biden granted the pardon on January 19, his penultimate day in office. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness described the decision as a first step toward the total exoneration of Marcus Garvey, Jamaica's first national hero. He said the decision restores Mr. Garvey's dignity as a champion of freedom, empowerment and equality. Opposition leader Mark Golding said the pardon corrects what he called a grave historical miscarriage of justice, arguing that Mr. Garvey's conviction was part of an effort to dismantle his Pan-Africanist movement. The ruling Jamaica Labour Party has criticised Mr. Golding for saying Garvey was exonerated.
It is clear that the PNP president does not understand the fight to clear Marcus Garvey's name. It seems he's somehow detached from history. His misleading statement indicates that he does not understand that a pardon is not an exoneration, but references the act of forgiving for commission of an offence. Exoneration includes a full declaration of innocence while acknowledging unjust prosecution.
Meanwhile, Mr. Garvey's son, Dr. Julius Garvey, said the family remains committed to achieving full exoneration, noting that this is an important step, but the struggle to clear his name continues. The pardon follows years of advocacy from successive Jamaican political administrations and United States lawmakers. Mr. Garvey was convicted in June 1923 for mail fraud, a case long criticized for its racial and political overtones. Meanwhile, Jamaican immigration advocates in the U.S. have dismissed President Donald Trump's executive order to end birthright citizenship as legally ineffective and a ploy to energize his base. Mr. Trump was sworn in for a second non-consecutive term on Monday. Attorney Winston Tucker emphasized that birthright citizenship is enshrined in the 14th Amendment and cannot be undone by executive action. He said it would require a constitutional amendment, which he says is unlikely. Erwin Clare of Caribbean Immigration Services called the move red meat for Mr. Trump supporters, but legally futile. Congresswoman Yvette Clarke of Jamaican descent labeled the order a shameless abuse of power, vowing they will not yield. A U.S. judge has since ordered a temporary ban on the implementation of the order. And that's it for this edition of Jamaica Now, your weekly review of the big news stories. Send us your comments at onlinefeedback@gleanerjm.com. Follow us on X, formerly Twitter, and Instagram at Jamaica Gleaner, and on Facebook at Gleaner Jamaica. Like this video on our YouTube page, turn on your notification, and subscribe today. I'm Jovan Johnson.